Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Unmasked. We are here on this fine Monday night recording. Zach Den, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Have a little bit of work this week and spring break next week. Otherwise, I'm doing good. What about
Spring
you?
break. I'm not doing as well as you. We don't have a spring break, so I'm pretty jealous, honestly. They kind of, screwed
Yeah,
us on
it's
that
tough.
one.
It's tough.
Took it away from us. Otherwise, hanging in there. This is actually the quarantine pod. I'm waiting out my 10 days of quarantine with my roommate recently testing positive, unfortunately. So, we're just taking it day by day over here in Ann Arbor. But yeah. All right. So what's been going on? It's been a long time since we hopped on here. Definitely an interesting all-star weekend that we will get into. But first, news of the day. You see Dak finally got his deal.
Dak is back, baby.
Dak is back for $160 million.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel so mixed about that.
Quite the price tag. I bet you Jory is very happy for him. I know when we had her on, she was anticipating a deal at some point. Really nice to see him get paid, but it would be nicer if I was any other team. Like if I was a fan of any other team. It's just annoying to have to watch Zeke get a $90 million contract, and then Dak at $160 million and still have a team that's very incomplete and very far from contending.
That's a good way of putting it. But all that being said, I love Dak. I wouldn't want anybody else to be the face of our franchise. And I'm really excited that he's officially back.
True. Yeah, that I wouldn't want any other quarterback right now. Like he's come to embody the star. It was my senior year when he was a rookie and he took us to the playoffs and went toe to toe with Aaron Rodgers. Like he's come to embody this Tony Romo, post Tony Romo era. I hate that we couldn't get it done on his rookie contract. Because you look at I heard a good point. You look at Russell Wilson's career. Like he went to the Super Bowls when he was on a rookie contract and they could pay the defense and create the Legion of Boom. And since when has Seattle made it to the Super Bowl? Never. He's been great, but the team, you can't surround a quarterback that gets paid like that with amazing talent. You just the cap room doesn't allow for it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But hopefully Dak is back and he'll step up and we'll see a new era of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that will be exciting. All right, so yeah, that was the news of the day, I would say. It's breaking news about a couple hours ago. It's Monday night right now. But what about All-Star Weekend? So that was it's not even All-Star Weekend. It was All-Star Night. But I don't know. Did you see anything? Speaking of weekend, I guess there was a Saturday night event. Did you see the rapper 2-on-2 tournament, or did you not?
I didn't watch that one, but
Yeah.
I watched pretty much the whole weekend. And it was okay. It was an interesting All-Star weekend.
Why do they do the rapper 2-on-2? Why is Jack Harlow and Lil Baby and why I don't get it. Snoop Dogg, it's not
Celebrity
Quavo.
game or whatever. Yeah.
Why are they trying to pretend Quavo? Okay, obviously Quavo's the best out of them because he plays at Lifetime with these other NBA players. But are we trying to pretend Quavo is even near the level of anyone else in the NBA? It's ridiculous. I don't get the point of it. I mean, I guess it draws in a crowd just to see them play, but I don't know. It takes away from the whole all-star point. It's very – I would have rather seen the Team World, Team USA. They named the rosters and they never played that rookie-sophomore game,
Oh yeah, why did that never happen?
I don't know. Were you upset Keldon Johnson got named a rising
Yeah, he
star?
was a rising star. Team World. I mean, Team USA.
They
That's
put that
tough.
on his Wikipedia because it's pretty empty otherwise. I'm curious if they
Not soon. Once we get the championship this year,
yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Once all of the Spurs late first round draft picks who are all have tantalizing potential
Yeah.
that all play the same position once they come together for a championship.
Dude, I was actually reading today in the Spurs Facebook group that I'm in that apparently we're really interested in Nikola Vucevic.
Okay.
Could be interesting. They were talking about a potential deal of LaMarcus Aldridge and Lonnie Walker and a first round pick for Vucevic.
We talking about Vucevic, the runner-up in the skills competition last night. Nikola
That
Vucevic.
we're talking about that Vucevic. Honestly, like I could see him in the Spurs system. Like, it kind of makes sense when they
Yeah,
were saying that. Like, it's very like a unique, really good player who's like humble, and just kind of very fundamental. It would make sense. I don't know if they would like. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that deal I just proposed would be so interesting to them, but I would love to see Vucevic on the Spurs.
I think he hits Greg Popovich's three main points of being European, being versatile, and being humble, flying under the radar. I mean, that those if you hit those three, you're flying in like Boris Diaw, Thiago Splitter, Boban, Aaron Baines, Tony Parker, Manu. Like you're right in that threshold where you're the perfect fit for the Spurs and the RC Buford.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, you kind of makes checks all the boxes, right?
But what would be the point for this year? Is it just because the Spurs are overachieving and they're going to really try to go for it? Or is it like you're going to build on a 30-year-old center? Like, what's the deal with that?
He's on a 4-year deal, so maybe hopefully by the end of that deal, we could have like a legitimate championship team in the making. Like I honestly think like with DeJounte, I don't know what's gonna happen with DeRozan, but I mean the Spurs team is gonna be good in a couple of years. I mean they're already good. They're already one game ahead of the Mavs right now with Luka Doncic. So I mean I don't know what else you need except for like a really good center because honestly Pirtle's been playing pretty solid this season. He's surpassed a lot of expectations. But if we had like a real guy who just gets it done, I think it would make the difference, you know?
So it's kind of an upgrade over Aldridge for the next couple of years, at least,
Yeah, at
to
least.
extend that window, let the young players develop, get them some experience in the playoffs, maybe. Yeah, okay, I see it. So speaking of DeRozan, you touched on him. Do you have something prepared here? Because I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. Let me first tee off with Mike Conley because I did not even I missed the news somehow that Devin Booker wasn't playing in the All-Star game. I knew he was hurt, whatever, but I didn't get like the whole replacement news. So I look last night, I turn on TV, I see Mike Conley playing the All-Star game. And my first thought is, oh, when they realized Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid couldn't play, they just said, Mike Conley, you were in the three-point shootout, get in there and play in the All-Star game. We need you. We need another body. I didn't realize that he had been named an All-Star. And now going to that point, the fact that he was named an All-Star, I get that the Jazz are great, but this just makes me so uncomfortable because when you look back on his years as a prominent player, it's going to be as a Grizzly. And the fact that he never was
Absolutely.
an All-Star, what'd you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go on.
And the fact that he was never an All-Star was almost his like calling card. He was the best player to never make an All-Star game, and it was okay. We were okay with that. But now that he's an All-Star with the Jazz, it takes away from his time as a Grizzly, and it makes me a little uncomfortable. And also, I think there was a player more deserving. So do you want to tell everyone why DeMar DeRozan should have gotten that spot?
Jordan, to quote Drake, for real and my city love me like DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan. That was in Lemon Pepper Freestyle, the new Drake drop. But DeMar DeRozan is having an unreal season. I'm just going to do a quick stat comparison between him and Mike Conley. So DeRozan averages 20 points per game. Mike Conley 16.1, so 4-point difference. Assists per game, 7.2 assists per game to DeMar DeRozan, 5.7 to Mike Conley. To what? 1 point difference, 1.5 point difference to DeRozan's favor. Rebounds per game, 5 rebounds per game for DeRozan, 3.5 Mike Conley. 3-point percentage. Okay, that goes to Mike Conley. DeRozan's not the best 3-point shooter, 40% to 30%-ish. And then free throw percentage, DeRozan has 89.3% to Mike Conley's 83%. Dude, DeRozan is having a better season all around than Mike Conley. The Spurs are the only team poised for the playoffs right now without an All-Star. The only team that are poised, like that's crazy. And DeRozan's putting up career numbers, and the Spurs are doing so much better than everybody else expected. And that's a lot goes to DeRozan's efforts that he's been putting up this year. I was really mad. I was really upset when he didn't make it originally, and I was way more upset when I finally got over DeRozan. Like I understand, like it's all nice, like little fairy tale, like oh Conley's never gotten it here, like he's having a good year. give it to the man, whatever. But no, he should not be an all-star over DeMar DeRozan this year. If you're looking at individual contributions to their team, DeMar DeRozan is the primary player on the Spurs. That's like a couple games behind the Jazz. I mean, yeah, that's my little rant for tonight.
Completely agree. First off, he's the only player on a team poised to make the playoffs in the Western Conference where that the team didn't have it. Because like the Heat and the Hornets and like they didn't have any, but they don't deserve it. The Spurs are in above
Wait, are
500.
the Heat and Hornets in the playoffs right now?
Yeah, they're in the East, but I'm talking about the West. So like the Heat,
Okay,
Hornets, Raptors, like they all are in the race there. But the Spurs have a better record than all those teams, first off. And you want to talk about so people want to say that it's a lifetime all-star award for Mike Conley, right? It's like, let's get him the all-star vote. He did. Yeah. When you look back on his career, it's an all-star career. Okay. 2 points to that. One, the all-star part of his career already happened. That ship sailed. If you were going to give him an all-star bid, that was going to be as a Grizzly. No matter how well the Jazz are playing, you don't give him the all-star bid this year just because the Jazz are good and you want to reward Mike Conley for his years of service. I get that. I don't agree with it. Second, if you want to call it a lifetime award, how about you look at DeMar DeRozan's improvements this year? You said it with the 7.2 assists per game. The dude averages under 4 assists for his career. He has elevated his game. He's matched his points per game that he has on a career and elevated by 3.5 assists per game. He's become a playmaker. He's become a playmaker, averaging more assists, way more assists, more rebounds, and leading a team that should not even be sniffing the playoffs to an 18-14 record in the tougher conference. There's no doubt in my mind that the Spurs should have had an all-star. And who else are you going to put in but DeMar DeRozan? I think it's ridiculous that he didn't get in, and even more absurd that they chose Mike Conley over him. I think it's honestly an indictment on the league and all of this media buzz that always happens and these talking heads.
It's the media, man. That's what it is at the end of the day. Like,
it's crazy.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is. But it is what it is. We're past it now. DeRozan had some cryptic tweets about it. Like, it's politics as usual, and like honestly, that's just what it is. But so that's what being Spurs fans all about. You know, you gotta get through all that and look forward to the many championships that are to come. Right?
It's just sad because he's become the forgotten piece of a trade that resulted in a championship for the other team. So he's being forgotten while at the same time he's stuck in a small market on a team that people have come to expect greatness from and take for granted on a yearly basis. So they don't pay as much attention to him. And it's just like in any other scenario, you know, he would be respected in a way that is more than what's going on now. It is tough. All right. Well, the All-Star game did still happen, even though DeMar DeRozan did not participate. So
I'm glad, by the way, Jordan, I got to say, I'm hyped that you're on this DeRozan train with me because sometimes I feel like I'm a lone passenger.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't.
Stop, man.
I wasn't at first, but if you're gonna make 3 replacements and 2 of them are gonna be out west, one of those people out west has to be DeRozan.
Yeah, I agree.
It's ridiculous.
I also will say that I was looking at like Trey Young also has a good case for his like he also got pretty snubbed. But he's putting up like the same numbers as last year pretty much when I remember, and he was an all-star starter last year. He didn't make an all-star team this year.
Well, that's the thing is like I bet you last year there was a lot of hype, but that just tells you how much coaches don't value his game. Like he's someone who's going to put up volume shots and not play defense, and his team's 16-20. Like if he wasn't voted in last year, would the coaches have picked him? Like I don't know, maybe the hype they would have, but like you don't want to leave it up to their hands. Like if you want to be in the All-Star game, you got to have a good enough team and be good enough on different ends of the court so that
he's terrible
coaches will have your back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Giannis kind of stole the show last night. Were you watching when he banked in the 3 and didn't even know that he?
Yes, I was. That was crazy. 16 for 16. He had an insane game.
It's crazy. He was 14 of 14, and he had like a little floater that bounced in, and everyone's on like pins and needles. Oh, 15 of 15, and then he pulls up for this like deep three, and Reggie Miller's like, no, 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 and then he banks it in, of course, to be 16 of 16.
That was sweet. Dude, Team LeBron was just too good. Like,
Too
I don't
good.
know how that team was able to get assembled.
It's crazy. And the sad thing is, people are going to be like, like the LeBroners are going to be like, oh my God, he's so good at picking teams. He's like, he's going to be a great
I saw
GM
that.
one day.
Like,
Oh my
LeBron
God.
GM, yeah.
Give me a break. Like, is that what we're going to take away from this? I don't think there's any takeaways from an All-Star game except for the snubs. Like, you can debate that, but we're not about to debate performances, especially on the executive level from an All-Star game.
Right, yeah. It's just fun, dude. Like, but yeah, nah, it's honestly like also I thought it was gonna end up being closer. It was a blowout.
Yeah, it was not close. I had Dame. I put $1 on Dame to be the MVP, and it was so close. Like he ended up with 32. He had a great second half. He had the game clinching shot.
What was the line on that or the odds?
It was plus 1,400. I want to say,
Oh wow.
1,500 plus 1,500. And so I just like put $1 because I was like, this is my reasoning. So I like Dame. I picked him to win MVP before the year, but my reasoning is you got to pick someone who hits both criterias. You have to have someone who was snubbed in some way. So I would say the people who were on snub watch, Dame Lillard for not getting a starting spot, definitely wanted that over Luka. And then you had Rudy Gobert as the last pick in the draft. Both of those people had something to prove. So you want to look for the guys who like aren't just going to be clowning around. They're going to want to go drop 30. Like that's their main goal. And the second thing is they got to be likable. So Rudy Gobert is not likable at all, and he's not going to put up the numbers. Dame is likable enough to where people are going to vote for him. He's going to get the popularity vote. So I was like, that's what I'm going to go with. Dame. I'm going to put
Dude,
$1.
you're the big Dame guy.
I am. I just think he's
Also your pick for MVP.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
It was. That
I respect it.
I mean, he's a dark horse. Look, Portland, here's the I think Joel Embiid's the MVP right now, but here's the path for Dame. If you look at the Blazers, pull up those standings again. The Blazers are currently in 5th place, okay? They trail the
Right over
Suns.
San Antonio.
What'd you say?
Right over San Antonio.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. They're all kind of clumped up. They're a game and a half above them. So if the Blazers can climb to a top 3 seed in the West and Dame averages, say, 35 and 8 here on out, and he ends up averaging like 30 points, 7 or so assists, slashes like a 50, 40, 90, and the Blazers get the 3 seed, when all of the players on that team have been injured the whole year, you can make a case. But this has to be sustainable for them, and they have to improve from where they are.
Hypothetical top 3: Jazz, Lakers, Portland.
That's the Suns would have to fall off, and the Clippers would have to stay stagnant, and the Blazers would just have to hit a hot streak. Then maybe Dame keeps up the numbers. McCollum comes back. You get Nurkic back. Zach Collins comes back. And you start playing well. You start winning games you shouldn't. And the Blazers finish a top 3 seed. That's the path.
Yeah, I guess it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. Dude, honestly, I've been hearing a lot about talk about Harden recently, which is really interesting. It's just crazy that's even being a conversation when he has Kevin Durant as his teammate and Kyrie Irving and now Blake Griffin, who I'm sure we're going to get into.
How about that he switched teams? How about that he forced his way out of a city? Like, has that ever happened where you win MVP? Can you give it to a guy like that?
Yeah, that's so crazy. I don't know.
How mad would Houston fans be if you give it to Harden based off of basically what he did? Like, he quit on Houston, and then he just comes to life in Brooklyn, and you give it to a guy who, like, missed a quarter of the season and forced his way out of a situation, looked horrible, ruined his image, and then, like, reinvents himself, like, across the country.
Yeah, that's I mean, they already hate him.
Now he waved to them.
I hate him. Yeah, his jersey's gonna get retired in Houston. Like, They don't hate him, but like at least my friends from Houston, I'll still want to see him succeed. Because he
Really?
gave so much. He gave so much to them. Like it was just a bad situation, you know.
Are you sure they're not rooting for Jeff Green on the Brooklyn team?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but no, I mean, really, James gave him so many good wins, you know.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you talk about a team that was probably a top 3 or 4 team for a 4-year stretch there. That was, if the Warriors don't exist, probably a perennial finals team in the West.
Oh,
Uh,
for sure, yeah. I mean, it's probably one of the best teams ever to not win a championship.
yeah. The combination of Harden plus blank. Like, even with Westbrook last year, like, that was a talented team. The 2 years of CP3, you had even like the Harden Dwight years where they made a Western Conference final against the Warriors and lost. Like,
I think the Harden CP3 years were probably, in my opinion, the best
yeah.
of that team. But yeah,
There was the one where they went up 3-2 and then CP3 got hurt.
right.
So that was tough. Okay, so slam dunk contest. We're gonna talk a little about this because I didn't like it that much. What do you think? I thought it was a little disappointing.
Yeah, dude. I even like even like the last. There was just no dunk that like excited me that much. I thought the first Obi Toppin dunk was pretty cool, just because it was like unique.
Yeah,
Um, and I thought the Cassius Stanley dunk was actually pretty sick, his first one. But like like he didn't even kiss the rim. Like what was it? Was
no,
he?
he
I
blew
mean, I
it.
guess I wouldn't do that, bro. Like that I'd probably bust your teeth. But
The
uh,
social distance kiss.
and like what was that? Is like and Fernie Simmons, his dunks were weird, dude. Like where he like put the ball there and just like jumped really high and got it.
Yeah, it was all the Nate Robinson theory, where if you just show that you're a small guy with hops, you can get
Yeah,
away with moderate dunks.
yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I mean, what happened in the dunk contest?
Dude, I think it's a combination of things because I think it's the fact that we got guys who Cassius Stanley, I remember his highlights from high school and I remember him going to Duke
Yeah,
and
he was sick.
he was a huge recruit. Like I remember him, but the average fan does not know who that is. He has 0 dunks on the season. He has no dunks. Anthony Simons is a backup point guard. Obi Toppin is a rookie averaging 4 points a game. So like the quality of players in this has like decreased tremendously, and you have that paired with the fact that we've just seen a ton of cool dunks over the year, and like you said, or over the years, like you said, the dunks aren't exciting anymore. You know, it's like we've seen all of it. I feel like
Yeah,
I don't
that's a
know.
good point.
It's just like
That's
if you had like LeBron out there doing like whatever dunks that weren't even that cool, there would be a level of appreciation because it's LeBron. But you put Anthony Simons out there, and it's like, okay,
Yeah, but like, why is that the contestants? Like, they're not even like the cool,
because who wants
like,
to expose themselves? You know,
yeah,
I don't
that's a
know.
good point. I
Like
miss those
John,
like Zach LaVine, John Wall, Paul George. Like, they used to have exciting guys out there. Like Blake Griffin. I'll
yeah,
never forget that Blake Griffin dunk over the car. That was hype.
jumping over the Kia.
Yeah,
We're mentioning Blake Griffin a lot before his Brooklyn signing, but he was so good. He was the one that I felt like revitalized the dunk contest
that's what my
with the
roommate
Kia
was
jump.
saying. Yeah,
And you had like Dwight Howard with the Superman cape way back
yeah,
when.
that was another one. Yeah,
It was great. I remember when I was little, it was Josh Smith and Nate Robinson, and then it was guys like Dwight, and then you had the whole like. Then even when it was smaller guys like Gerald Green would do it, he blew out the candle on the cupcake was
I
on
remember
the
that. Yeah, yeah.
like that was cool. Like stuff like that was cool, but like now it's almost like let me just show off my hops. The
My roommate
creativity.
actually made a good point that it's kind of weird that Anthony Simons wore a T Mac jersey. Um, like what happened to like team loyalty? Also, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like
And that year that T-Mac did that dunk was a year after he was born. So it's not like he grew up appreciating T-Mac on the Raptors.
yeah,
Didn't
huh.
really make sense. Like he's our age. He was born in 99. So
Yeah, that's I don't really know what was good with that, but
like do you remember T-Mac on the Raptors? Because to me he's a rocket, but that's just in my
yeah, he's
childhood
a rocket
memories.
to me as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I don't know. I mean Dwight Howard tried to come back and do it last year and it just didn't work. Like but you know, you put a guy who's like 34 out there, like, okay, he's not gonna do well. But if you
Right.
had Zion in there and you had Ja,
Zion. Why not Zion? Like
yeah.
Ja.
Well, Ja tweeted out, and because someone was like, these scores by the judges are just horrific. And Ja was like, exactly why I don't do it. But I'm like, really? Because I don't think anyone's, if the judges give you a bad score, I don't think anyone's going to be like, yeah, the judges are right, Ja, you can't jump. Like, no one's going to say that. Like, no,
Yeah.
the impression of Ja is not going to change based off of one night of a dunk contest.
Bro, I need Zion to do a dunk contest. I need it. We need it.
It'd be pretty great. Even like Jackson Hayes, someone like that, like who can fly, who's had like Sports Center top 10 dunks, who people
Yeah,
have
that'd be
seen.
cool. Lonnie
Like,
Walker could do it.
yeah,
Calvin Johnson.
you just need someone who's been on like posters, like who's set the league on fire with a highlight. You can't have guys who no one knew they could jump before because it's just the name factor isn't there. And if no one's heard of them, it's just so much easier to criticize the average dunk. Whereas if it's a name brand person, at least there's that going for them, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Wasn't my favorite event this year. 3-point contest was hyped though. I really liked Steph pulled a bird, saying she said he's like, who's coming in second. That was so cool. And he won. He had that game winning one.
Last shot, right? That was
Yeah.
what it's all about. Of course, beating
I
Mike
feel
Conley.
like those were just locks. Like Team LeBron winning, lock.
Yeah.
Steph winning the 3-point contest, lock. Like just like easy calls, you know?
Yeah, Team LeBron, I mean, they were like minus 180. It wasn't even close. And Steph was the favorite to win 3-point shootout too. But I don't know. There wasn't even like the 3-point shootout didn't even have that great of shooters to be honest. Like they're good shooters, but they're not on Steph's level. Like you throw Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, it's like okay, Jason Tatum, like they're fine.
Yeah, why wasn't Trey Young in that?
Right, he's probably pissed he didn't get in the All-Star game.
Yeah, like he should have been in that.
I wanted to see some Maxi Kleba. I wanted to see some Dorian Finney-Smith out there. Seth
Duncan
Curry.
Robinson, honestly.
Yeah, that would be the cool thing. If I know Seth did it one year, but they had like Seth, Duncan, JJ Reddick, and Steph, and like that's fine. Like you just want those guys. Like, all right, let's do it. Like I'd be totally cool with that. Also, whatever happened to do you remember when they used to do the former player, the WNBA player, and the NBA player?
Shooting Stars.
Yeah, Shooting Stars, and they would have a San Antonio team. They'd have like a Dallas team sometimes. They would do different. It was like by city, and it was so much fun.
Chris Bosh did it. Yeah, that was cool. I like that one.
That ended in the half court shot.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
I wonder why they quit that.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. But that was a fun one. I liked it.
Yeah. Also, thoughts on them playing the Canadian national anthem last night, "O Canada," even though Toronto's playing in Tampa Bay this year?
That's funny. I missed that actually. That's funny.
They just don't want to offend anyone. You can't risk it at this stage.
Yeah.
For the NBA.
True.
Did you like the all-in-one night format moving forward, or you like it spread out Saturday night, Sunday night?
Honestly, yeah, we talked about this a little bit last time, but I think the all-in-one night kind of is good because like you just sit down and watch it. Like it's harder to watch like both nights, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a move. What about you?
Well, yeah, I agree. As much as I was underwhelmed with the dunk contest as it went forward, I appreciated the dunk contest more than I would have appreciated a musical performance at halftime. So
yeah,
there was that. It was a pleasant surprise. It was like, oh, it's halftime. Should I go get up? And then it was like, oh no, wait, it's the dunk contest. I'm gonna stay and sit and watch this. So It definitely kept me on the channel. All right. Well, that was the All-Star game. Let's take a break and come back with some NBA second half talk because we're right at the midway point and we got the trade deadline coming up too. So stick around and we will be right back with some NBA on Unmasked. And we are back on Unmasked to run down the NBA rumor mill here and talk about the second half. First off, Blake Griffin we got some movement here finally. This is going to be a little bit late, but it was over the weekend. He signed with the Brooklyn Nets. I think it was actually right before the All-Star game. So do we like this move? How much does he still have left in the tank? What's your thoughts?
We're scared of this move. While he doesn't have that much left in the tank, I do like the reunion of him and DeAndre Jordan, first of
Love it.
all. That's pretty sweet. And I think, dude, honestly, like, they're gonna win the championship in my opinion. Like with Blake Griffin now, like I was talking about this with one of my friends the other night. Like I think they might be the most talented team of all time,
Yeah.
which is like crazy to think about. Like it's literally like all the NBA like bad guys like on one team. Like I guess LeBron and AD. Like um, that's a fire team, and they're probably gonna win the championship. And it will be nice to see like Blake Griffin and like James Harden winning chips, whatever. And I think Blake Griffin still has a lot left to give. It was kind of a weird situation for him being in Detroit, and I don't think that system was really conducive to his strengths. But I think when he's like more like a piece of the system, he'll be really good again. Not like obviously he's not prime Blake Griffin anymore, but he doesn't have to be at all when you have James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris right next to you, you know.
Yeah.
So it's scary to me because you have another former, I mean, all-star level talent, right? With Blake Griffin joining an already insane team. So it's scary, but I'm like it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. If you had like told me like 2013 and been like, yeah, DeAndre and Blake are still going to be together, but this time they're going to have Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. And Steve Nash is just going to be on the team, you know, and who knows? And I would have been like, holy, that is a championship dynasty right there. The
And it
problem, like
might
you
be.
said, yeah, honestly, the problem, like you said, is his track record as of recent. He's down to like 12 points a game, 5 rebounds or whatever this year. But he's only a couple years removed from that all-star form. And there's this whole thing like he hasn't dunked since 2019. But that's only been like 20 games. Okay, it's been a lot of injuries for him, which doesn't help the case. But here, let me just give you this. I think certain players quit when the situation isn't right. And I'm not saying that he just abandoned Detroit, but it was very clear that Detroit, after getting swept by Milwaukee a couple years ago, was moving in the opposite direction from what Blake Griffin probably saw when he was traded there. So it's not uncommon to see a player like that just stop trying to perform at his highest level because the team's not going anywhere. And he has his money, right? I think the motivation is now high. We talk about this a lot in my class, it was my marketing class. So you when you want people to react, motivation has to be high and ability has to be high. So Blake's ability, I think, is still there. Not all of it, but I think enough of it. And now with higher motivation, it's honestly a perfect situation for him because you don't have to be the main guy. You don't even have to be in the top 3, top 4. You can be the 5th option on this team, and that's going to be enough. And I think it's just going to be enough to rejuvenate him. He's played in enough big games. I think he's going to show up.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. I will say though that the Nets' biggest critique is probably their defense, and I don't think he really adds to that or really fixes anything with that at all. If anything, he might take away a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's another. And also, like they already have like I mean, I think a big question is their chemistry, right? Because they haven't played a lot of games like with the full squad, whatever. And so he's just going to make the chemistry even like more complicated. Not necessarily worse, but just more complicated. So there's definitely like interesting points to be considered, but overall, definitely a good move for both parties.
I like that he can step in and be not a main guy, but like you can run an offense through him. Like that has happened before in Los Angeles and Detroit. And so like right now, like KD's out. Kyrie had been a question mark. There were games where James Harden was just turning it into the Rockets of old. And like in those kind of games, you can just throw Blake Griffin in there and be like, score 20 tonight. Like just go out and be Blake.
They have another guy who
Yeah,
can.
like
That's
he
crazy.
can do that. But then in the games where you just need a role player, all right, throw Jeff Green in there, put Blake Griffin in when you want to go small ball 5, and just have him hustle. And like that's all you need. It's like what they get from DeAndre Jordan right now, except DeAndre Jordan can't create like Blake Griffin can. But it's like
Right.
you minimize the role when you need to, when you want your stars to show up. And when you need to call on him, you hope that the motivation's there and he can be ready. And like all he has to do is just perform in those moments, be a role player, and just come up big when the lights are on. And we know he can do that. Like he's been proven to do that. So I think it's a good signing because they're pretty hard capped with money. So this is the best that they could do, really.
All I know is that the Nets are officially a skip in 2K.
Yeah, for sure. They're OP. This is yeah.
If they, I mean, they already were, but now you throw Blake Griffin on there, it's like fastest skip, like not
And
fair.
Bruce Brown out there balling. This is over, man. This is over.
True, man. Like it's crazy.
Well, yeah. So that was a great addition, I think, for the Nets. So let's move to potential additions, because now it's an arms race, and now we got teams that want to make moves. So I want to talk about Andre Drummond for a second, Blake's former running mate in the front court of the Detroit Pistons. So Andre Drummond is on the Cavs now in the final year of his player option. Cleveland is looking to trade him. He has some value as a double-double guy. What do you think about Drummond to the Lakers? Because there has been rumor that they're interested. Remember, they have Marc Gasol now and Montrezl Harrell.
Dude, honestly, like if they want to put up a fight against the Nets, they probably do need somebody like that. I think Drummond, dude, honestly, like that's interesting. Drummond might give them the edge they need because the Nets are kind of more of like a well-spaced team, even with Blake Griffin. Whereas, like, if they got Drummond, they would just be able to dominate the paint with Davis, LeBron, and Drummond. So like that would really make it things a lot more interesting, and a lot more even, or balanced, I guess.
It's an
So
upgrade over
yeah, I like
Gasol.
it. I ship it. I don't know who they would be able to exchange him for.
Yeah,
Um,
they would have to just throw picks in there,
like
which they probably
Kuzma,
don't
like
have.
a ton of picks, maybe.
They wouldn't not. He's not worth that much because he's an expiring deal. He's 27 million. So you just have to match salary at that point and give some draft compensation. You'd probably be fine. But I think the more important thing here is like if I'm the Lakers, I may want to get Andre Drummond so I can keep Andre Drummond away from a team like the Clippers. Because if
That's a good point.
you look at the Clippers and they have Ibaka, who matches up well with Montrezl Harrell, but you look at like Marc Gasol or whatever 5 they throw out there, they don't have. It's not like the Clippers have a ton to match that. Zubac is very inconsistent. We saw him flop in the playoffs last year in the bubble. So if you want to go out and get a guy like Drummond who would easily mesh with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, that's a fit. So if you want to get stronger by making your rivals weaker, there's an avenue right there. And he can also help. It's not like he's going to hurt your team. Maybe
Yeah, that's very valid.
Yeah. Mavs. So this is interesting. I've seen a lot of connection to Kevin Love, which I just really like. But I know if the Mavs trade for Kevin Love, the white boy Mavs train is going to start going again. That everyone loves to talk about.
No, that's mad funny.
It's just like it's a running thing. It's just whenever the Mavs sign a player as white, it's like, oh, of course, Boban, Maxey, Luka, KP, of course. But I really do think that Kevin Love could be a fit just because I don't love KP at the 4. And we need offense. The Mavs were like a historic offense last year, and we've just tanked without Seth Curry. So I ran this trade into the trade machine, and I want to get your opinion. We got Kevin Love and Larry Nance Jr. headed to the Mavs. Kevin Love and Larry Nance Jr. Headed to the Mavs for Josh Richardson, Dwight Powell, James Johnson, and a first-round pick. But we're taking on Kevin Love's final 2 years and like $50 million that the Cavs would have to pay, and like he's not like that would be a favor to them, and we basically give them a first-round pick also with some other youngish players.
I don't like it, and I'll tell you why. I think the Mavs already have one of the worst defenses in the league, and I think giving up Josh Richardson would be a huge loss for in that on that end. And I don't think Kevin Love is this like world-renowned defender, so I don't think he really adds that much value in that sense. And like I don't think they can afford to lose more defense and gain offense.
Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing is, I think right now, the priority, at least what I'm watching, is offense, because they went into the season thinking, all right, we were the best offense statistically in NBA history last year. We need defense, and Josh Richardson has been very average on both ends. Huge disappointment from where the expectations were.
Right.
And you have a plethora of guards. You got Jalen Brunson, Trey Burke, and then Tim Hardaway, obviously, who's probably would slide in and play the crunch time minutes there, like he has been, but he'd be the staple. So you have guys to step in and play. I don't think the drop-off from Josh Richardson to Jalen Brunson on the defensive end would be that severe, but the offense from Maxi Kleba to Kevin Love could potentially put you over the top in the West in terms of like leapfrogging this middle of the pack and landing in the 4 or 5 seed. That's my hope, at least. And Larry Nance Jr. coming off the bench just adds more big flexibility. I think he's a better version of Dwight Powell. Someone who's active on the boards, can be a lob threat to Luka. Dwight Powell's been super underwhelming also. So that's where I land with that. Maxi Kleba and Dorian Finney-Smith, the team's 2 best defenders, in my opinion, would still be on the team. Really, Willie Cauley-Stein's minutes would take a hit.
I don't know if you guys could afford that.
Yeah.
Willie Cauley-Stein is a generational talent.
You don't think Trill belongs on the floor?
He's a funny-looking guy.
Yeah, he's very Post Malone-esque.
I don't know if funny-looking is the right word. He's scary-looking.
He's Post Malone-esque. That's his vibe.
Okay.
To me, at least.
Yeah, just with the face tattoos and everything.
Willie Trill. Yeah, he's he's been losing minutes to Powell. That's a seesaw, Powell and Cauley-Stein. That's why if you just put in a guy like Nance to soak up those backup minutes, you put Love in and you get a good 30 minutes. And Love's a great rebounder. You know, if you can get like 18 and 8 out of Love, take a little bit of the load off KP, and just hope that your combination of JB and Trey Burke can keep you afloat in the backcourt defensively. That's what I think the move is. But it's just something I saw, and I wanted to talk about it. Got me really excited this morning when I woke up.
Yeah.
The Spurs doing anything? Any big plans besides Vucevic?
Yeah, we're going to get Vucevic for sure. Yeah, I mean, we might also get like Giannis. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe dabble around in Devin Booker.
We'll ship him. Maybe we'll ship him like Trey Lyles for Giannis or something.
Yeah.
And like 100 first-round picks. But yeah. Nah, I don't. Like honestly, the Spurs are pretty slow to act. I just got excited when I saw like 3 different things posted in the Spurs Facebook group. They're like, Spurs really want Vucevic, and I was just like, it's such like a niche player to really want. So like, but I got excited about that. It does make sense though. Like,
yeah,
I was saying the perfect Spur would be Jokic. It's never gonna happen, but he would be perfect in the Spurs system. Like that's like the Spur. Like, you know.
He could sign with the Spurs at like age 33 or something.
Yeah,
I could see that.
At that point, what's the point?
I think Al Horford's going to be a Spur at some point. I don't know. It just seems like it.
I mean, like I'm down if he's taking a minimum contract. But
if he gets a buyout or something, the Spurs are a little bit better in a few years, and he's like, you know what? I could be a veteran leader at 36 years old for Lonnie Walker and Keldon Johnson and DeJounte Murray, Derek White.
Yeah.
Here I am.
He's got the personality for it. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Just what I felt like. I feel like he's a Jokic type, where it's a very pass-first big man who has a good personality, could mesh with any team. That's what I feel like with Jokic.
Yeah.
Jokic obviously takes it to a whole nother level. He's magnificent, but it just I don't know. I like that style. It's kind of what they've turned LaMarcus Aldridge into. You know, he's not. Pop has a way of just like finding that in players and just bringing it out on maximizing it on a large scale. It's a great trait as a coach.
That's a good way of putting it. He's the GOAT.
Like who would have known DeRozan would have been a guy who, like you look at him, it was like takes too many mid-range jumpers, never going to win a championship, inefficient player who can put up stats. And Pop takes him and he's like, don't change anything about your game except we're going to double the amount of assists that you make and you're going to be a playmaker and a leader. Like, he literally finds these small rooms for improvement and just blows them up. And that is the mark of a great coach.
No, I was talking to Noah this weekend. He's like, I know it's going to happen. The Spurs are going to make the playoffs. They're going to get like a late first round pick. He's going to be fired in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Look at Lucas Manich, bro. Like, who is that?
I see people calling him the best Luka in the league, and I get a little triggered.
I know. He's not that good yet, but like he already looks like he's going to be a solid contributor to the team in like a little in like some time. Like he's already been putting up solid.
Look at Bertans, man, an $80 million contract, and he's cash. That's another guy you need in the 3-point contest.
Yeah, Bertans could be in the 3-point contest for sure. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of 3-point shooters, last thing on the trade rumor mill, I saw that the Celtics and the Mavs are both interested in JJ Reddick. What would you be willing to give up for JJ Reddick? Because at that point, if you're Donnie Nelson and Mark Cuban, you're covering for sending Seth Curry to Philly, and you're trying desperately to find a shooter to put in Luka's backcourt. And I don't hate it, but what would you give up a first-round pick for an expiring 36-year-old JJ Reddick?
No, not a first-round pick.
A young talent, maybe, like a Josh Green, a Tyrell Terry.
Huh. Maybe a Tyrell Terry, but that's tough. I don't know. The old man in the 3. Maybe like a James Johnson, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, no, JJ Redick's too much value for that. But
no, but you would give James Johnson for the salary matching, and then you'd either throw a pick in, like a second rounder, a first rounder, or a young player that's on a small salary, and just try to get JJ. But the problem is his market's going to be high because he's an expiring contract. All the contenders are going to want him. Who wouldn't want JJ Redick at this point? What team cannot use JJ Redick on their, like, there's no one.
None. Yeah, everyone.
Even the Nets. The Nets could use JJ Redick. Are you kidding me?
Everyone could use a little JJ in their lives. Dude, if he went to the Nets, that'd be crazy with Blake, DeAndre.
Imagine a team where you have ISO stars up top and you just put JJ in one corner, Joe Harris in the other corner. You can run pick and rolls or ISO, and you just draw in defenders with your all-star caliber talent and then just kick out to 2 of the best shooters in the league. I mean, it's ridiculous. That would be ridiculous.
Wow.
They can't do that.
That's ridiculous.
But the Celtics, like, that is I think that could help them too, because you have another 2 all-star wings in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You drive in right now, who are they kicking out to? Semi Ojeleye? You know, like, who are they kicking out to? If you could put JJ Redick in that corner, I mean, but same with Luka, you know, like all these teams that have guys who can penetrate at an all-star level, you need to have shooters. That's why I think the Mavs could overpay for JJ. May take a first-round pick. Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe.
But would you rather use that for K-Love? So that's what they're going to have to sort out. Maybe there's a multi-team trade action there where you get J.J. Redick and Kevin Love and Larry Nance Jr., and then you're set.
But, like, is that set, or is that just moving them up, like, to maybe one more round exit?
Okay. Here's the counter, though. If you can get up to, let's say, the 4 seed or the 5 seed, doesn't matter, you play each other, and you play a team like the Suns at that point, who you think you can beat, and the Jazz stay at the 1 seed, I mean, you're playing Jazz in round 2, and the LA teams are playing each other. You only have to get through one LA team at that point.
That's a good point. That makes it a little bit tangible. Yeah, you breaking it down like that makes it more
like the Jazz have a healthy lead. And the Jazz seem like, even though they've had so much success, they seem like a beatable team. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
So, I don't know. That would be.
I also, weirdly enough, have started thinking about them going all the way more seriously.
Well, I heard a comparison to the 2014 Spurs.
Ooh.
This team is like, where you don't have like one superstar yet, but you have a lot of really good players that all work together. You have like Donovan Mitchell as Tony Parker, Gobert as a Duncan. You have Jordan Clarkson as like a Manu, Ingles as a Boris Diaw, and Bogdanovich is like a Kawhi, like a young scorer, not young, but like a scorer who's a secondary option. And they just pass the ball like nobody's business. They have great role players, Royce O'Neal Derek Favors, Juwan Morgan, guys like that. And they just know how to play. They're well coached, and there's no
Conley.
explanation, but they just win.
You forgot about an all-star.
Yeah. Oh, Mike Conley. Excuse me. See what I mean? He didn't deserve the All-Star this year. But yeah, who would he be? So he would be like the Tony Parker, I guess, and Donovan Mitchell would be like the Kawhi. And then you just have they have even more options. But I would say the Spurs options are of a higher quality. But
yeah,
the Jazz, like Bogdanovich plus Mitchell, can equal Kawhi. You know what I mean?
dude. Yeah, that's honestly, I was thinking about throwing a little bit on them.
Yeah.
I mean, not me personally, for a friend where it's legal.
Oh, of course.
But
or Mitchell's like Ginobili and Clarkson's like Patty Mills. There you go. There's the.
I think Joe Ingles is like Patty Mills.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. But Boris Diaw,
because they're both from Australia.
Okay. Boris Diaw was so clutch in that run though. I remember against the Mavs, he had a huge 3 down the stretch. He just and in the finals they started him in the second part of the finals, and he's a difference maker, and you just didn't know why.
Rudy Gobert would be Tony Parker.
Yeah, okay. Because France. That makes sense.
Donovan Mitchell would be Kawhi, yeah. Okay, so now it's making sense.
Would Joe Ingles be Aaron Baines though?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, you got to think about that. There's too many nationalities on that team. All right. Well, I'm very anxious to see how the Jazz do. Point is, I think if there's any year, COVID's shown, but also just because the Jazz and the Suns are somehow 1-2 right now, the Mavs should be aggressive at the deadline. Is my point. So we will see what happens. I think it's March 25th. I want to say that is the deadline, so things should be happening fairly soon. All right. Any last words on NBA free agency before we move into today in history?
No. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. When we come back, we will have today, which hopefully you're listening to this, is March 10th. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right. Today, which we hope we are getting this out on March 10th, is an interesting day in history. Not much going on in the sports world here, but we got a lot of birthdays, so it'll be interesting enough. So 1963, what is that now? 58 years ago, Wilt dropped 70. I guess that's pretty cool. And then same year, we got 2 in 1 year here. Same day, same year. On the day Wilt dropped 70 points, Pete Rose played his first ever spring training game and got 2 hits. It was the first game he ever played in the MLB.
That's a big day.
Yeah. It didn't count as a game in the MLB, but it was spring training. So I know. So got 2 legends doing their thing. And then birthdays. So we got in the celebrity / Hollywood realm, Robert Hunter Biden II is his 15th birthday. It's Joe Biden's grandson. Bad Bunny's 27. Carrie Underwood is 38. She's already 38. She does not look 38. Chuck Norris is 81.
Legend.
Yeah. Emily Osment is 29. How is that? How's Emily Osment? How is the girl from Hannah Montana not 30 yet, but Carrie Underwood is almost 40? Doesn't make sense. And John Hamm is the big 5-0. So happy birthday, all you guys.
Went to UT.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that. Hook 'em. Sports birthdays. Zach LaVine is 26. Big friend of the pod. Pronounce his name right.
Zach LaVine, my roommate's favorite player. He has his jersey.
Really? On the Bulls?
Dude, actually, I have an interesting thing to say about that real quick.
Okay.
Ross, he's my roommate from Chicago. He was telling me he thinks that statistically Zach LaVine is going to end up having made a bigger contribution to the Bulls than Derrick Rose. Thoughts?
Wow. Statistically, not emotionally.
No, not emotionally.
Yeah. I can believe that because he's a good player putting up big stats on a bad team. There's always those kind of players, like Trey Young, for instance. So you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, he is like the statistical leader in all these categories because they've been so bad. They've been relying on him for years. But you think of those Derrick Rose teams. I mean, Luol Deng, young Jimmy Butler, Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson. It was loaded. I mean, Derrick Rose wasn't the only guy that had to be scoring. So, I could see it. Zach LaVine's also really good. Like,
Yeah, he's really good.
Not Derrick Rose prime good.
Yeah,
but
I just never thought about even comparing them. But like, I mean,
yeah, that is crazy. You told me MJ, then we'd have a problem. But
yeah, no, not MJ.
not yet.
D-Rose.
Not yet. LaVine could get there someday.
I mean, D-Rose only had how many like really good seasons? 5.
He was only a 3-time All-Star.
So 3, pretty much.
Because he was the youngest player to ever win MVP. I think it was in his 3rd season.
Right.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just it's more about the quantity, but
yeah.
Happened
so fast. All right. Well, happy birthday to Zach LaVine. Happy birthday to Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, 2001 first overall pick.
Number 1, baby.
You want to guess how old he is?
36.
Really? I thought he was really old. He's 39. But I think it's crazy. He's not even 40 yet. And he was drafted as the first overall pick. And he's not in the NBA still. Like, that's really sad. No,
Yeah.
that makes me. I mean, he hasn't played in 8 years. And he's not even 40 yet. And he was a first overall pick.
He was terrible.
Yeah, he was bad. What about former Spur Quincy Pondexter? 33 today.
Oh man, Quincy.
Short run with the Spurs.
I never think of. I think of him as a Grizzly.
Yeah, same. I think of him as bald. And then Justin Herbert, 23, the kid. I mean, this guy could be.
Oh, we never addressed. Okay, sorry. Keep talking.
No, you're good. What? Well, we would never address.
What episode of Unmasked is this?
24.
It's the Kobe episode.
Oh my God. How do we go through it without even realizing?
This is the Kobe episode. This is the episode that I said makes us legit.
Okay. We're going to have to advertise that when we push this out. If you're listening, we apologize. This episode is dedicated to the late, great Kobe Bryant. We really should have tried to get this done closer to January 26th, but, I can't believe we missed it. That's really upsetting.
Rip to a legend.
And it was so nice how they continued to honor him with the 24 with the Elon ending, having to score 24 points past whatever the score was. I like that. It keeps it. And then the Kobe Bryant MVP being Giannis.
Yeah, that was nice.
But yeah, shout out Mamba.
I want them to change the logo to Kobe. I want it to happen.
Really?
I want it to happen, yeah.
You want to give a little spiel on that? Because I like tradition. I hate change. I love honoring Kobe, but I'm not big on change. So I want to hear your perspective.
Jerry West himself has said, change it. Kobe, I feel like, is the most iconic player in the league of all time. And also the most beloved, especially in light of everything that happened to him. But even before that, honestly.
There were mixed emotions.
Yeah, there were mixed emotions probably before. Now it's all love.
Yeah.
And I just think it'd make a lot of sense, especially considering the contemporary history of the league. And even I just feel Kobe Bryant as the NBA logo, it can't be Jumpman and it's not going to be LeBron. It's Kobe makes sense,
Yeah, it can't be Jumpman. LeBron already has his hold over the league. So I get that. If you are going to change it, you're right. I mean, when you shoot a paper ball into a trash can, what do you say? It's Kobe. He's embodied the game of basketball. But it's so hard for me to change things. If it was up to me, I wouldn't change anything in the world. So I get it. I'm one that's so ingrained in tradition.
It's also a cool logo itself and market the NBA so well. Yeah. So it would be tough, because the NBA with that logo, and that's kind of the first thing you think of probably,
right?
When I say the word NBA, but dude, the next thing I think of is Kobe. So
it would just be hard to look at that logo and know that it was a player that I grew up watching, Whereas like the NBA seems so historic to me that I don't look at it and say Jerry West. I look at it and say the NBA, right? Like it's not
Yeah,
front of mind to me because the logo only
that's a
means
good
the
point.
representation of the league. It's not like an individual entity. You know what I mean? Or
So
like
do you think
a
they should keep the
person.
same logo forever?
I mean, I don't that like that's what I would do, but I'm not like gung ho on that. That's just like my preference because to me a logo is something that's like I said historic and just represents the league as a whole. I I love honoring Kobe and I think he deserves to be honored. And again, if you are going to change it, I think he's the right choice. I just wouldn't like spearhead a movement to change it. You know, I'll accept it if it happens. It's just hard for me to like promote that because I'm not about change. It's just something I have a hard time with.
Well, agree to disagree on that one. I'm all about it. Let's make it Kobe. Episode number 24. Change the logo.
Well, yeah, this episode for sure can be dedicated to Mamba. Um, I cannot believe we missed that. But um, happy episode 24, Mamba forever. Happy birthday to all those who we shouted out. It is a great March 10th to remember now with our episode 24, and we will end it with a little bit of fan mail. So today's mail comes from Cole World. Conley deserved it over DeRozan10 at gmail.com.
Get out of here, bro. I don't want to hear that.
Dude, I don't even want to read the email now. This guy's just trying to get under our skin. All right. Being good is good. That'll get you Drew Gooden. But me, I want Jordan numbers, LeBron footin'. Can't guard me, Vince Lombardi, John Wooden. What do you think of J. Cole's lyrics? Is it fair to even call Drew Gooden good? Thanks, guys. Okay, so the line is being good is good. That'll get you Drew Gooden. So there's a lot to unpack here. There's so many sports references.
Yeah.
But first, like, I agree. Can we even say Drew Gooden was a good player? Like, I feel like that's an insult to all the actual good players that have existed.
He averaged 11 and 7 on his career
Is
with
that good? Is that
without
above average? Good,
let's
I
see
think,
his
is a step above average.
let's see his prime. Let's see his prime.
It's like 14
His
points a
prime
game.
15 and 15 and almost 15 9.5. That's not bad.
But is not bad good player because to me, you got all-star, great, good, above average, average, and then you start dipping. So like,
Yeah, I would say over his net career is probably about average to maybe above average.
yeah, because average would probably be like to me like 7 to 8 points a game. So he's probably like slightly above average, but I don't know, like 9 teams in 14 years, I don't think you're good. You know, like if you're
Yeah.
on 9 teams in 14 years, averaging a career 11 and 7, you are slightly above average because you stayed in the league that long. Or you're above average. You're not good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Drew Gooden is particularly good, but maybe our ideas of good is just subjective.
Yeah, that's probably it too. Anyway, J. Cole missed the dunk in the dunk contest last year, so he doesn't know anything about basketball.
Eh,
I hope you never hear this, Jermaine. Did you know Drew Gooden's real name is Andrew Melvin Gooden III?
that is news to me. I don't really know so much about Drew Gooden's personal life, but I'd love to learn more.
That just came up on when I looked up his statistics just now. That is a good name. See, that is good. That is not just above average. That is good. Andrew Melvin Gooden III.
What measures like the goodness of a name?
If it sounds like you're the Prince of Wales, then it's good. Andrew Melvin Gooden III.
Yeah, that's
Um,
a pretty solid name.
yeah, pretty solid. All right. Well, that about wraps it up for us on this Kobe episode. I'm so glad you caught that. Any last words? You want to shout out Mamba one more
Shout
time?
out Mamba. Shout out DeRozan, who's like a young Mamba. Uh, Shout out Vucevic. Shout out my mom.
In the wise words of Kyle, I am just like DeRozan. When I shoot it, it goes in. All-Star snub 2021, but you live in our hearts forever. as a guy who has made monumental steps towards a Hall of Fame career. So Mazel Tov. We are Team DeRozan. We are Team Kobe. Thank you for joining us on this 24th edition of Unmasked. And may we come back next week with a March Madness edition, potentially, after the brackets are set.
That'd be fun.
Think that may be in store. So get excited. Wish me luck in these last quarantine days, and I will hope to see you all, if you're watching this, or talk to you all next week. Have a great week. Zach, you too.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace.
Stay safe. Peace.
Likewise.
And we're back really quickly with a slight PS here. Zach, you still on?
I'm still on.
All right. Well, I just wanted to come back and shout out my roommate, Greg Georgiev, who is not only the goalie on the Michigan club hockey team, but is also a recent aspiring DJ in Ann Arbor. He has put together a big parody mix that follows all your favorite big booty songs on SoundCloud. So check him out. We're going to put the link in the description below. It is really awesome. I get really hype in the shower testing it out for him to make sure it's all ready to go. And he finally published it. It's up to like almost 2,300 streams right now. And that's awesome because he's like not even like that. He doesn't even DJ. Like that's not his thing. He just does this on the side. So check it out. I know Zach's going to check it out, right?
Yes, sir.
And all you looking to party on St. Patty's responsibly, of course, check it out because it's sure to be a good time. So congrats to Greg. Check it out, and we'll be back next week on Unmasked. Thank you for listening.